Now we'll have some discussions on proportions. Proportions is very closely related with ratios. What do you mean by proportion? What we saw as ratio? Ratio is a fraction that compares two quantities that are measured in same units. Proportion is a quantity which compares two equivalent ratios. So proportion is one which represents the equality between two ratios. Proportion represents the equality between two ratios. That is, it is used to represent two equivalent ratios. Now say 4:6, 10:15. Fine. Now first we'll compare 4:6 and 10:15. What is the method for that? Write it in fractional form. 4/6, 10/15. How to compare? Cross multiply. 4 into 15, 10 into 6. You get 60. Here also you get 60. 60 and here too 60. That means these ratios are equal. 4:6 and 10:15 are equal. These two ratios are called equivalent ratios. Now equality of the ratios can be represented using proportion. What is the symbol for proportion? This is the symbol for proportion. 4:6 is proportional to 10:15. How come? Because they are equal. So proportion is used to represent the equality between the ratios. Fine. Now, in this proportion, 6 and 10 are called means. 6 and 10 are called means. 4 and 15 are called extremes. 6 and 10 are called means. 4 and 15 are called extremes. Fine. Now when I say 6 and 10 are means, 4 and 15 are extremes. What fact that can be that we can derive for proportion? Always in the case of proportion, product of means must be equal to product of extremes. Product of the means, that is 6 into 10, must be equal to product of extremes, 4 into 15. So product of means is equal to product of extremes. Fine. Using this particular fact, product of means is equal to product of extremes, you can find the missing values. Say I say 4:6 is proportional to x is to 15. 4:6 is equal to x is equal to 15. You are asked to find the value of x. By the rule, product of means is equal to product of extremes. You can write 4/6 is equal to x by 15. Isn't it? And you can find the value of x. X is nothing but 15 into 4 by 6. That is 10. Either you can convert the given proportion into the fractional form and find the value of x, or straight away you can apply this rule. That is, what is the product of means? 6 and x. 6x. What is the product of extremes? 4 and 15. 60. So x is 10. Applying this rule, you can find the missing value in a given proportion. Okay. we are given a problem in this form. X plus 2 by 17 is equal to X by 16. They are in the proportion. It is given in fractional representation. This quantity is in proportion with this quantity. You are asked to find X plus 6 by 19. The first thing we'll do is we'll find the product of means and the product of extremes. So cross multiply. 16 into X plus 2 is equal to 17X. Now 16X plus 32 is equal to 17X. Bring 16 inside. So 16X plus 16 into 2 is 32, 17X. X is 32. 16X to this side, 17X minus 16X is X and 32. X is equal to 32. Substitute X is equal to 32 in this equation. That is X plus 6 by 19 is equal to 32 plus 6 by 19. Answer is 38 by 19. 38 by 19. So find the product of means, product of extremes, find the X value, substitute X, 32 plus 6 by 19. So 38 by 19 is the answer. So 38 by 19 is the answer. If you want, you can reduce to the lowest terms. 19, 1 are 2 are. So the answer is 2 is to 1. In terms of ratio, it is 2 is to 1. Or 38 is to 19. Both one and the same. Proportions la submodule போட்டுக்கலாம். Okay. So now we'll see the two types of proportions, also known as variations. The two types of proportions also known as variation. What are they? One is direct variation or the direct proportion. Another one is the inverse variation or the inverse proportion. So now we'll see what is direct variation. Now when I say quantity X is directly proportional to X directly proportional to Y. X is directly proportional to Y. If a quantity X is directly proportional to the quantity Y, they can be represented in terms of X directly proportional to Y. X proportional to Y. Or X is equal to K into Y. X is equal to K into Y, where K is a constant. K is a constant. So X, the quantity X is directly proportional to Y. It can be represented as X proportional to Y, or X is equal to K into Y, where K is a constant. What are some examples of direct proportion? See, when X increases, Y also increases. When X decreases, Y must also decrease. Can you give some real-time examples for direct variation? Consider food articles and the cost. When you buy 5 chocolates, the amount is rupees 10. Now when you buy 50 chocolates, certainly the price will also increase. So when you buy more articles, the cost also increases. This is an example of direct variation or the direct proportion. More articles, more cost. More articles, more cost. Similarly, what are some other? More sunlight. More the sunlight, more is the heat. So more sunlight. More is the heat. So these are some examples for direct variation. When one quantity increases, the proportional quantity will also increase. When one quantity decreases, the proportional quantity will also decrease. Now, you are given a question. The price of 15 toys is rupees 234. The price of 15 toys is rupees 234, and you are asked to find the price of 35 toys. Now, first observe the question. The number of toys increases. As the number of toys increases, the cost must also increase. As the number of toys increases, the cost must also increase. So this is an example for direct variation. So just note down that more number of toys, more cost. So it is direct variation. So how can you represent this direct variation mathematically? Just write as it is. 15 is to 35. 15 is to 35. Number of toys increases. So write 15 is to 35. It is in proportion with 234. Let this unknown value be x. Let this unknown value be x. So write 234 is to x. So as the number of toys increases, the cost also increases. It is an example for direct variation. Now we have to represent it mathematically in terms of proportion. So just write 15 is to 35 is in proportion with 234 is to x. As this quantity increases, this also will increase. They are in direct proportion. We have a rule in proportion. Product of means is equal to product of extreme. So product of means 35 into 234 is equal to product of extremes 15 into x, that is 15x. So x is equal to 35 into 234 by 15. So what is the answer? 5 3s are 7s are, and 3 1s are 21 8. Answer is 6 5 546 rupees. So the answer is x is rupees 546. So the cost of 35 toys is 546. First analyze the question, find what type of variation it is. If it is direct variation, now represent it mathematically in terms of proportion. Just write as it is. 15 is to 35 is in proportion with 234 is to x. Apply the proportion rule. This rule is nothing but product of means is equal to product of extremes. Product of means is equal to product of extremes. Find the value of x, that is nothing but the cost of 35 toys. So consider this question. The question is given as 20 men working for 6 days are able to build a wall of length 56 meter. There are 20 men working for 6 days. By working for 6 days, they are able to build a wall of 56 meter length. Now, if 35 men are working for 3 days, what length of the wall they can build? 20 men working for 6 days are completing a wall of length 56 meter. Now 35 men working for 3 days can build a wall of what length? So that is the question. Now break down your question, write the data. Number of men 20, 35. Number of days 6 days, 3 days. Wall length is 56 meter and another length you have to find out. Let this be x. Now first step is over. What is the second step? You want to find out what is the variation. Is it direct variation or the inverse variation? Now, men increases. When the number of men increases, what about the length of the wall? Compare with the unknown quantity. Compare with the quantity which is to be found. So as the number of men increases, the length of the wall that can be built will also increase. As the number of people increases, you can build a bigger, a longer wall. So more men, more length. Fine. So this is a direct variation case. Direct variation. Now, the days decreases. When the number of days decreases, what will happen to the length of the wall? If in 6 days you can build a wall of length 56 meter, in 3 days you can build a wall of only lesser length. So as the number of days decreases, the wall length that can be built will also decrease. So less days, less length. So this is also an example of direct variation. Now you have compared these two quantities with the length. Now compare these two quantities. As the number of men increases, the number of days will also decrease. I hope you all would agree with me. Now say you are completing a job. If 20 men can do a job in 6 days, 35 men can do a job in lesser days. So as the number of men increases, the number of days will decrease. Okay. Okay. So compare the given quantities with the unknown quantity. More men, more length. Less days, less length. So both these are in direct variation with this unknown quantity. Now we are going to model this question mathematically. Just write the ratio of men. 25 is to 35. As I have said, if it is direct variation, write as it is. 20 to 35. Sorry, 20 men is to 35. Now days. 6 is to 3. 6 is to 3. Write as it is. 20 to 35, 6 is to 3. Now this is in proportion with our unknown values. 56 is to x. It is a direct variation question. Write directly. So 56 is to x. Fine. You have modeled mathematically the question. 20 is to 35, 6 is to 3 is in proportion, directly in proportion with 56 is to x. So step 1, we wrote it we have written the data in this form. We have found out what is the type of variation and we are writing it mathematically. Now apply the same rule of proportion. Product of means is equal to product of extremes. Now here, what is the product of means? Multiply these two quantities, because 20 men working for 6 days, in the sense 20 into 6. 35 men for 3 days. So 35 into 3. So multiply this and this are extreme. This one and this one are means. Product of means, that is 35 into 3 into 56 is equal to product of extremes, x into 20 into 6. 20 into 6 into x. Multiply these values. 20 into 6, 35 into 3. This and this one are the extreme value. This one and this one are the mean values. So product of mean 35 into 3 into 56 is equal to product of extreme 20 into 6 into x. Now find the value of x. What is the value of x? Okay, fine. So what is the value of x? X is equal to 35 into 3 into 56 by 20 into 6. So 5 4s are 5 7s are 3 1s are 2s are 8 7 so 14. Fine. So x is equal to 49. What is x? 49. 49, what is the unit? Meter. So if 20 men working for 6 days can build a wall of length 56 meter, 35 men working for 3 days can build a wall of length 49 meter. So this is the method of solving a direct variation question. Put s equal